Almost ready. Mock draft Monday on a Tuesday. Is this supposed to be tacos on Tuesday? All right. All right. Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome into the Rockhound Detroitlions mock draft 3.0. It's a mock on a Monday, but it's Tuesday because we couldn't do it yesterday. It's all right. I don't think it's going to be any better because we waited a day, honestly. I don't think you can be ready for these things. As much analysis as you put into this, it's probably all wrong anyway. We're getting closer, though. We're getting closer. We got one more week. One more week of craziness that's about to ensue. Or in a week, we've got some craziness that's about to ensue with free agency. And once free agency hits, things will be fast and furious. I mean, as we've seen today, the Bears. Oh, the poor Bears. I mean, what were they thinking? I could not stop. I'm going to start crying. I could not stop laughing when I saw this come down. And, I mean, there's a reason why Brad Holmes decided to get rid of Jonah. It wasn't so much probably the money, because honestly, when you look at that contract, it wasn't that great. I mean, it was a lot of money, yeah, but it was like no guarantee in it. But there's a reason why Jonah exited Detroit and then turns around and exited the Rams that quickly. And it's because of the player that he was slowly becoming. And it was quite evident that he's not a good guard when he's not between Ragnow and Decker, or, you know, with Penei Sewell on the line. I mean, he's just not the same. He's just not. And it clearly shows. So good luck to Chicago Bears. I can't wait till Aleem McNeil or DJ Reader or whatever defensive tackle we get in the draft just eats him alive twice a season to get after Caleb. But anyway, what's happening, everybody, tonight? Let's get into mock draft 3.0. Let's just get it rolling. That's what we're here for. All right, so there's a ton to go over as far as the latest and greatest and what we're thinking is going to happen. And quite honestly, I just kind of threw my hands up today because there's just so much stuff to pour over. But I am going to do some trades. I don't normally do trades this early, but I think that we deserve at least one, if not two trades that I feel could be possible. To be honest with you, I don't even want to mess with the top five. Like, it is such a mess with all this information now coming out about Shedeur Sanders, and he's going to drop all the way out of the first round potential. And what does that do to a team like Pittsburgh? And Pittsburgh will probably end up grabbing, you know, Shedeur if he slips that far. And man, it would screw everything up. But I think that there's one thing that should not change, and that is teams should trade back in this draft. This is a very deep draft to get defensive tackles, defensive ends. It's not as heavy as I thought it was going to be on the linebacker front. So if the Lions don't grab a linebacker in the first round or early in the second, I mean, forget about pick 60. If they don't grab a linebacker, for my opinion only, in the top 45, they are not getting a day one starting linebacker that is going to affect this game from the beginning of the season. After that, yeah, you might find Chris Paul and some of the other ones that are good football players, but I don't think that they're game-changing football players. I've been wrong many times before in my life. I hope I'm wrong because I just don't see it. I think that a lot of these bigger name, bigger profile linebackers are going to be gone, and the Lions are going to be left holding a bag. So that means I'm expecting the Lions to be very active. Clip this. If you're watching it, clip it. I'm expecting the Lions to be very active in the free agency period for linebackers. We'll see what happens. It's Tuesday. By next week, Tuesday, we should know by this time who the Lions have signed. So, is the music too loud? I wanted to have a little bit of background music going here just to kind of keep my mind fresh. I can barely hear it, but sometimes it's really loud on your end. All right, we're good. It's not too loud. It's nice and smooth, ready to roll. Okay, number 1, Tennessee Titans. You know, I'll be fully transparent. I expect some movement here. I've got to, you know what? I got to flip back to my screen real quick. Sorry, I got to find my other sheet. I don't know what I did with it. There we go. Okay. Back in it. Back in the zone. Okay, so Tennessee Titans, I fully expect for them to be players with number 1. Look, if there's a team that is as idiotic as any of these teams can be on draft night because everyone's crazy, everyone wants the best players, they want their players, someone's going to want number 1. And if Tennessee is smart and they can try to trade back to the top 5, they're still going to have the pick of the litter. Yeah, it may not be a quarterback, but you could get the game changer in Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, Mason Graham, a receiver like McMillan, or Island Mayer, or however you pronounce his last name. You could get a tackle like Armand Membu. You could get a defensive, edge like Michael Williams. Will Johnson, he's sliding back for me. The arm length for me is a problem unless he's going to switch to guard. So he's dropping a little bit, probably outside the top 10. You could also get a game-changer running back like Ashton Genty. So, honestly, in this type of a draft, I would trade back. If I'm the Titans, stack your picks, trade back. Next year is a better quarterback year, and just get after it next year with a quarterback. Limp through this season. You can still win a lot of ball games. Build from the inside out, but we know that's probably not going to happen. So, I'm going to stick with the consensus here. And the consensus is, I mean, just about anyone that's talking about it, either the Giants are going to move up to number 1 and the Tennessee Titans are going to back up to number 3, or Titans are going to go ahead and just pick a number 1 and take Cam Ward. I think it's a silly move. That's what we're going to roll with. Let's get this draft started. Cam Ward is it. Same thing for the Browns. So not much is going to change here. I don't think that Abdul Carter is a concern. I think that the injury that he has, it can heal by itself. If I were him, I would go ahead and get the surgery done. Sometimes when you have foreign metal placed in your body, like screws and stuff like that, yeah, obviously that can hinder your play. But you're talking an 8-week recovery. I mean, if he would have the surgery this week, he would be good to go probably by OTAs. Pretty close to it. The draft is what, seven weeks away? He'd be very close to being ready for rookie minicamp or rookie OTAs. I would get the surgery done if it were me, and then you're fully healthy, ready to go, no worries at all, but it is what it is. Are the Browns willing to give up Myles Garrett? And I think that if they do, it's a no-brainer that they're going to take Abdul Carter. If they don't, I think it's a no-brainer that they pick up Abdul Carter. Could you imagine Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett on the same team, and how insane that would be as a defensive line that's already been good as it is? It was 11-win ball club just a few seasons ago. They could be right back in the game. Cleveland should trade back here, but they're not going to. They're going to select Abdul Carter. Now you have the New York Giants. The Giants, I think, are going to be a little bit smarter with their play. I don't necessarily see them leaping for a quarterback here. I don't necessarily see them having to have Shedeur Sanders in this case. Obviously, the Giants are going to want to land the best player they can. Travis Hunter would be that guy. He's a two-way player, someone that wants to play two ways, and they might let him. I think it's a great pick for him, but I also think it's a better idea for the Giants to go ahead and move back and get back to like number 6 with the Raiders, where the Raiders, you know, could possibly get their guy in Shedeur Sanders. The problem is we have free agency next week, and there's still some guys floating around that could be available, like Sam Darnold or others that could end up in, you know, in Vegas. And if that's the case, I do not expect them to take a quarterback this year. I guess we'll find out. Yes, I am going to be doing a Lions trade tonight for sure. Might do 2. I selected all 7 rounds just so I could have the ability to move some stuff around. All right, so New York Giants at 3. I don't think they're comfortable taking a quarterback. I think they're going to be smarter moving back. But just for sake of argument here, I'm not making a trade with any of these guys. I think that it is what it is. And I'm going to go ahead and select Travis Hunter here. Makes sense. Probably the best player in the draft. Two-way player. You're helping out both sides of the football here. You've got some weapons on both sides of the football already. You got a pretty decent defense. But adding what could be a shutdown corner to this team, I think it's a smart play. And the New York Giants could still get their quarterback or a quarterback at the end of the first round, which is going to be the play tonight for the Detroit Lions. That's on the list. All right, how about these New England Patriots? So they've got a defensive-minded coach. Are they going to go defense? Probably. Is there going to be a trade here with the Patriots and probably Vegas? Possibly. Do the Raiders decide to get their guy right now and just move up to number 4? They absolutely could, and I would expect that something like that is a very big possibility. Matter of fact, I've been pulling down comps all day, and some of the comps that I have found, you know, for some of these draft day trades, which I don't have the early one, but for instance, you know, when the Lions traded from 6 to 12 2 seasons ago with the Cardinals, that gave the Lions pick 12, pick number 34, and around number 5 pick 168, just for moving back 6 spots out of the top 10. I think that they played it right. I think that they ended up a little light in draft capital in return. I think the Lions could have milked that one a little bit more because they gave up pick 81, round 3 pick 81. I don't think they really needed to give that up. I think that they could have probably maintained 81 and given them something different, but they didn't. So I'm going to keep pulling down some comps because some of these early draft picks or early trades, like moving up just from like 4 to 3 or, you know, from 6 to 4, there really wasn't a whole lot being given up. And I was quite surprised, you know, how very little capital was given up for some of these moves. But now, especially in a draft where it's arguably a defensive draft for the first couple of rounds, and maybe that's going to limit how much capital is going to be going back and forth between these teams. So for the Patriots, look, I think that, you know, a lot of these teams are starting to warm up a little bit to taking an offensive tackle a little bit earlier in this game. There's some really good ones in here, but I want to give you a bit of information. I don't know if you've heard this yet, but I went through all the offensive linemen, and I don't know what's going on this year, but you want to talk about short arm syndrome. Like, this is a draft of the short arm army. Like, there's nothing but short arms in here. And by short arms, I mean when the color is blue on my sheet, that means that they're below average. And average should be 33 inches. Matter of fact, when you look at guys, for instance, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Garrett Bowles, Mike McGlinchey, Tristan Wirfs, Luke Goedeke, Penei Sewell, Deion Dawkins, Zach Tom, Ikem Ekwonu, Trent Williams, Alaric Jackson, Christian Jerisaw, Joe Alt. All of those tackles, They have nothing less than a 33 and a half inch, 33 and a half inch, 34, 35 inch arm. The average size arm on an offensive tackle that's a pretty darn good offensive tackle, 34 inches. When you drop down to the guards, even the guards are averaging almost 33 and a half inches. In this draft, it's 32 and 3/8, 32, 33, 33, 32 and 3/4 a handful of times, 32 and 3/8. All over the place. More than half of these offensive linemen have arms under 33 inches. So I think personally that this draft for offensive linemen in general is going to flush out more guards, not as many tackles. So I think if you're looking at grabbing a tackle, you're going to have to do it early, because the good ones, they're not going to be there. You have a few like Charles Grant out of William and Mary, 34 and 3/4 inch arms. You have Emory Jones out of LSU, 34 and a 1/4 inch arms. Holland Pierce out of Rutgers, 36 inch arms, which is crazy. Jalen Rivers out of Miami, he's almost got 35 inch arms. Jalen Travis, Carson Vinson, Cameron Williams, they're all over 34 and a half inch arms, but none of these guys are top tier talents. Calvin Banks, 33 and a half. Anthony Belton, who I'm starting to warm up to, just under 34. Tyler Booker, one of my more favorite tackles in this draft right now, 34 and a half inch arms. Could slide to guard. So I think that if there's going to be some tackles, they're going to jump off the board early. So Armand Membu to the New England Patriots. That's my pick here at number 4. And let's take a look at his arm length real quick. 33 and a half. So for me, he just barely gets in. 33 and a half is like, it's like the cutoff for me. Bob W says T-Rex time. It is, man. It's nuts. I've never seen it like this before. Okay, number 5, Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, this is the team that clearly needs an offensive tackle or a guard early in this draft. But I can't imagine with this type of players that are on this board right now. Like Will Campbell, look, I got him outside the top 10. Absolutely. But guys like Malachi Starks, Jahad Campbell, James Pierce, even Will Johnson, he's sliding down. Donovan Ezra-Cow, he's sliding up. But Mason Graham, you just can't walk away from a guy like Mason Graham. You can't. And quite honestly, the Jags need a defensive lineman. It may not be their number 1 need in this draft, but look, if you're looking for a center or a guard, and they have pick 36 and 70 and 78 until the Lions get a hold of some of those picks, hopefully, you're going to be able to find a guard and a center and a cornerback in this draft with those picks, and pretty darn good ones too. I expect the Jags to have a pretty good draft, to be honest with you. But Mason Graham, he's gone at number 5. I don't think that they're going to go for a wide receiver. I think they're going to stick to trenches and build it from the inside out. All right, so now Shadeur's still on the board, and so are, well, the Raiders. What are the Raiders going to do? Are they the team that's saying that maybe, just maybe, Shedeur Sanders is just a little bit too cocky, a little bit too arrogant? If you believe in that stuff, if you believe in all that, the pre-draft hype, I don't. I think that they go ahead and take their guy. I don't even think that there's a chance that they don't do it. So I think that Shedeur is still going to be in the top 10 at number 6. I think without a doubt. I mean, some guys are probably going to pump this information out there so nobody jumps up to take them. It's smokescreen season. I mean, it is the second largest season next to pothole season. New York Jets. Look, this is where I would have had a defensive lineman going, like a Mason Graham or other defensive linemen that are, great possibilities. I, obviously gave Mason Graham up to pick number 5. And it is what it is. So they're not going to get him. I think that the Jets are going to want to build from the trenches. And I think that this is a defensive draft. You've got Aaron Glenn, who's a defensive coach. The Jets offensive line, probably not the greatest. I can't remember exactly where they ranked last season, but I know it wasn't great. I know a lot of different analysts were putting a defensive tackle to the Jets, and I believe in that. I absolutely do believe in that. But I think that this is where you're probably going to get either a corner, a safety, or a linebacker off the board. And knowing what Aaron Glenn likes, he likes to play, man. He likes to play press man, and he wants to get after the quarterback through blitzing. So why would you not want to do that with one of the best linebackers in the draft or one of the best corners in the draft to start to shut down the back end of your defense? You already have Sauce Gardner back there. He's been in the league for a few seasons. You're going to have to pay him soon on a second deal. So a guy like, Jade Barron or Malachi Starks makes a lot of sense to me. Will Johnson may have made sense before the arm situation, and that may not bother other teams, may not bother anybody. But I think you could see Jade Barron going here as high as number 7 to the Jets. With the number 1 defensive tackle off the board, I think it's going to be between the number 1 corner and the number 1 linebacker off the board here at number 7 to the Jets. And since he's a corner himself, I'm going with Barron. I think he's off the board right here. I know, I'm nuts. All right, Panthers are on the clock, and we need an edge rusher to go. I just hope it's not the one that I want to see end up in Detroit. But Shamar Stewart sure has been painting the lines here ever since he completely put the lights out in Indianapolis with the way that he tested out. I wish the Nick Scorton shoes would have stayed on, because I feel like the energy just kind of dissipated around him when his shoe kept flying off. And that's a guy that really, in my opinion, is probably the best edge in this class. He may not have all the physical or the, agility testing scores just yet. We haven't seen it all just yet, but I will tell you from the tape, the dude gets where he needs to get, and he knows what he's doing. And I think that, hey, if teams are going to push him down, well, I'm sure the Lions will be more than willing to take him at 28 and not have to move. Now, Michael Williams has been mocked here by some of the other analysts. The Panthers defense simply lacks players. I mean, they need some playmakers, especially after, the injury to Derek Brown last season. Williams had an inconsistent season with injuries. I mean, everybody showed a little bit of a glimpse and a stretch or two of upside and what was positivity for the Panthers. This is a team that's still rebuilding, and I think that you're going to want to get a playmaker, a difference maker, and that could be Michael Williams. It could be Shamar Stewart if you want to put Shamar Stewart up this close to the top 10. And I think either one of those would be phenomenal picks. But I think, oh man, another DB would have been great here. I just don't see another DB in the top 10 that's worthy. I don't think Will Johnson's going to crack the top 10 at all. And I'm a little hesitant to throw Shamar Stewart in there. You know what? I think it's going to end up being Pierce. I think that the Carolina Panthers are probably going to go after the Tennessee product, James Pierce. He's fast. He's not a 3-down guy, but I think that his speed, his ability to get after the passer is exactly what the Panthers are probably going to be looking for. At number 9, we've got the Saints. Now, regardless of who's going to be the quarterback in 2025, the Saints are missing some offensive playmakers, both offensive line, wide receiver, you name it. They could use just about everything. They've allowed opposing defenses to really kind of dictate the action because they can't push the ball. And if you can't push the ball and you can't score points, you're not going to win football games. Now, Tyler Warren makes a lot of sense here simply because he's a blocking tight end, in my opinion. He's also a pass-catching tight end, but he does much better in the blocking scheme. And I think that he could be a very unique opportunity for the Saints. I just don't think that's the needle mover they're looking for by any stretch of the word. I think it's either a Luther Burden III or it's going to be the McMillan kid out of Arizona that the Saints are going to want to take here. I think everybody would love to have Ashton Genty. I'm not so sure that the Saints are ready. The Saints are ready to make that, you know, early of a call on a running back when they need so many other areas addressed. So for me, it's McMillan off the board at number 9 to the Saints. And now the Bears are up at number 10. I got to get that soundbite put in here. How are we doing so far? How many people do we have in? I don't even know how many people are watching right now. I don't have anything up. I've got so many screens open, I can't look at anything. So the Bears, you guys aren't going to like this one. You know, something happened today. And when the Bears decided to take an offensive lineman in free agency early, that kind of put me back on my seat for a minute. And I said, all right, they need a center. They need a guard, right? There definitely needs something on the defensive side of the football. It could be an edge, could be a linebacker. But they just took a guard. So what do you think they're going to try to do? They've got Caleb. How do you get pressure off of Caleb? Well, it's not DeAndre Swift. No. Oh, no. It's Ashton Genty at number 10. Going to the Bears. You can lock it in. I guarantee you that's going to be the pick. I won't have to do another mock draft. I think that Ashton Genty, he fits so well. He looks exactly like Jahmyr Gibbs behind that line. That Ben Johnson is probably salivating just looking at the guy, thinking that he's going to get Jahmyr Gibbs type of play out of him, and he just might. So this is where, again, if this happens, Brad Holmes, you better do something about this linebacker room. You better, because if we have to defend a guy like Ashton Genty in the NFC North, just look at what we do with Gibbs. Now, you still have to have a really good offensive line to open up the holes and a capable quarterback. I mean, they've got the play caller to do it. Clearly, Ben Johnson knows what he's doing, you know, with these running backs. I think that the Bears definitely go after Ashton Genty, especially when I look at, you know, the picks that they have left too, which I can't go back and look. Why can't I go back and look? Shoot. They have plenty of picks. They're going to be able to get guards, no problem. Guards and centers. Like I said, it's T-Rex syndrome in the draft this year for offensive linemen. No offense to any of the offensive linemen watching the stream. Look, it's just I got this thing about arms, man. And if they're not long enough, look, I'm not wrong. You can look at all pros that I've compared you to. Their arms are really long. I think if it common denominator is long arms, it works. San Francisco. They're up at 11. Now, San Francisco has a lot of opportunity to go in any direction at this point in the draft. Matter of fact, I didn't pull down the news today. Let's see. They're talking about trading Brock Purdy on draft night. They're talking about no guarantee on Purdy. They're trading away Debo and possibly Ayuk. I mean, what else can they not do before free agency? I mean, they're obviously getting out first, which, you know, if you're not first, you're last. I think that it's extremely smart when you're trying to get rid of players. You want to be the first into the fight. You want your player out there first so teams can react. So when you look at what the 49ers are doing right now, I think it only makes sense that if there was a quarterback somehow on this roster, right, you know, searched on this board, Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, if they were still available and they weren't going to pay Brock Purdy, which I think is stupid. I think that Brock Purdy is a great quarterback, and it definitely has been, especially when you have some good weapons around him, just like every other quarterback that has some good weapons around him. I think that they're going to probably want to replace some of these offensive weapons that they've lost, but will they be able to do that in the later rounds? At pick 43 and pick 75, I absolutely believe that the 49ers will be able not only to find a receiver, but they'll still be able to find a defensive lineman and a tackle or a guard in those later picks. But tackle seems more like a great pick right here, or defensive lineman. Some of these defensive linemen have to start coming off the board, and I think that this is where you're going to start to see a rash of some of these guys getting to move. Derek Harmon, Darius Alexander, I mean, they all make sense, but I think that when you look at the San Francisco 49ers, they're getting a little bit older out there on the edge. Let's see. Yeah, Nick Bosa is... How old is that dude now? 27? So he's still got some life left in him. They have Leonard Floyd, Yerder Gross Matos. You know, Leonard Floyd is 32 years old. Yerder Gross Matos is, I mean, he's not a bad dude either. He's 27. Dre Greenlaw, I think Dre Greenlaw is a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. So I think the pick here is going to be a Michael Williams. He's to me seems like a guy that belongs out in San Francisco. I think Michael Williams makes a lot of sense here, but I would not be surprised if the other pick, or if it could be Jahad Campbell, or it could be Mike Green. I'm a little hesitant on Mike Green just with all the news surrounding him. Honestly, 1 minute it's, you know, he's got something going on. Next minute he doesn't. I think the pick here is either going to be Jahad Campbell. I don't want it to be Donovan Ezra-Cow. I mean, I told you he was going to start flying up the board. The guy was in the 40s just a week ago, and now he's at 16. So Michael Williams or Donovan Ezra-Cow. Man, goodness sakes. Donovan Ezra-Cow is a guy that I really like. It's going to be Donovan. Okay, Cowboys are pissed. They missed out on the running back. They need an edge. They need a tackle. They need a receiver. They need a running back. And you know what? They like guys with a tainted past, too. It's going to be Mike Green. Back-to-back edge off the board. All right, now the Dolphins. Well, the Dolphins make a ton of sense for finding somebody in that defensive backfield. At the same time, I don't want it to happen, because that means we might not be able to get a play on Nick Emenawari. But Malachi Starks is on this board, and he's a hell of a safety. And Jahad Campbell is also on this board. He's a hell of a linebacker. Both of those guys make a lot of sense to Miami, but regards to both needing the best player available, also a guy that's freakishly athletic, like Emenawari. I mean, how could you pass on a guy that is just like a mini linebacker, runs like a fast corner, and can do anything like a really good receiver? I mean, the guy is just this perfect blend of athlete that you can put into any freak circus, and he's going to perform admirably. I would love to see Nick Emenawari, and I know all that stuff probably just made no sense. It's probably disrespectful I said that. Absolutely love this kid. I think that he's going to be one of the best in the NFL. I've got him mocked like Cam Chancellor. That's the closest comp that I have to him. And I think that he could have a career. If he stays healthy, he could have a career just like Cam Chancellor did and be one of the best safeties in the league for a long time to come. Very interesting. I mean, his size is just incredible. I mean, for real freak of nature, athletic gifts. I can't see Miami passing up on him. I really can't. But with the wide receiver need too, you've got Luther Burden or you've got Emeka Egbuka. And those also make a lot of sense. So I'm going to save Nick and we're going to go Emeka Egbuka. Bye-bye Hill. Now on to the Colts. Colts could use a tight end. I think that if you want to help Anthony Richardson, one, have somebody that can be a good pass, catcher, someone that can also help block. I think it makes a heck of a lot of sense to give him not only a weapon, but somebody that can also help with the offensive line in certain situations, right? Oh, where did my sheet just go? Uh-oh. Come on. Everything's buried. Just minimize that. Okay. Anyway, like I was saying, I think that they could use somebody on the offensive line, obviously, to help protect. They could use an edge rusher. They could use a linebacker. I mean, they could use just about anything. Anything that you could think of right now for the Indianapolis Colts outside of a center, they could probably use it. Now, cornerback obviously is another option that Indy could go with. Tight end makes a lot of sense, again, to give, you know, AR some help and also an opportunity to score touchdowns with. The latest, I mean, you've seen Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren, you've seen others go, and I've been saying a tight end for the longest. I'm gonna stick with a tight end. I'm gonna stick with a tight end. Now, is it gonna be the Colston, or is it gonna be Warren? Well, for me, I think it's Warren. I think Warren makes a lot more sense as a blocking tight end that can also be a pass catcher, so it helps in two phases, helps with the running game, and he's very intriguing. Now, the Colston Loveland story here, slipping a little bit in this draft, I'm not so sure why yet. On Tyler Warren. Falcons. All right, Falcons obviously need some help at wide receiver, edge, linebacker, and corner, according to PFF. I think edge and linebacker are probably two of the most important positions right now. I think that, you know, Raheem Morris obviously is looking for versatility and athletic ability. Donovan Ezra-Cow is, in my opinion, probably one of the best edge slash linebackers in this draft. Well, he's already off the board at San Francisco. I would love to see the Lions get their hands on him and a Shamar Stewart. We just can't have everybody. Brad, I hope he sells out the next couple of years and just trades a bunch of picks and moves up in this draft to pluck some of these generational players and just kind of go all in that way, right? You can go all in with a bunch of rookies as opposed to all in with a bunch of free agents. It's cheaper to do it with rookies, and yeah, there's a learning curve. But you get high-end players like this, and you've seen it done with other teams that are young and win Super Bowls. You just need the right mix of vets. Jelon Walker makes a lot of sense here to the Atlanta Falcons. He absolutely makes a lot of sense here to the Falcons. Unfortunately, he's not on the board, is he? I think I took him off the board already. Oh, maybe he still is on there. Might be down a little bit. Where is he? Where are you? Jelon, there you are. He's at 30. So we have Jelon Walker. We have Shamar Stewart on the edge. We have Michael Williams on the edge. Kenneth Grant for the defensive line. And Jahad Campbell, and that's going to be the pick. Jahad Campbell to the Falcons. All right. Cardinals. Again, I think you're going to get a rash of linebacker and edge right here. So right now between picks 11 and 15, you have Donovan Ezra-Cow, Mike Green, and Jahad Campbell. I think that at 16 through 20, you're probably going to see two more linebacker edge type football players coming off this board. Now, other mock drafts have, you know, I've seen where Donovan Ezra-Cow was mocked here. It makes a lot of sense. I've seen Shamar Stewart. I've even seen Kenneth Grant. I've seen a corner. But they need a guard, a tackle, and a defensive lineman. And right now, Will Campbell is still on the board. Now, if they're not as worried about the short arm syndrome, this would be a good spot for Will Campbell at pick 16, midway through the first round. But Josh Simmons, honestly, you cannot walk away from a guy that just fits, right? When they fit, they fit. And his arm length, let me get back to Simmons, is at 33 inches. So he's kind of at that barrier to entry point, right? He's just right there. And then you have Calvin Banks. And Calvin Banks is another player that I feel could fit here. And he's got the same situation. His arm length is pretty good. So I would say that Will Campbell probably slips a little bit still, and either Calvin Banks or you're going to see Josh Simmons off the board here. Let me look at something. Banks. And Banks is crushing it. 7'5" and 1/8, 315 pounds, 10 3/8 hands, 33.5-inch arms. He's got a 109 ape score. I mean, that's freaky. Freaky big. And Simmons. Where you at, Simmons? I've never seen this many tackles and guards and edge rushers in a draft. Seriously, it's crazy. You go back and look at last year's, wasn't even close to this. Anyway, Ohio State tackle Josh Simmons, 317 pounds. He's 6'4" and 7/8. He's got the arm length, got the barrier to entry, good football player. I think that, this is kind of like take your pick. I'm going to roll with Josh Simmons. I think he's a little bit more proven. He comes from a national championship winning football team. He's got the pedigree, and he can clearly help keep Kyler Murray on his feet. Next up, we've got the Cincinnati Bengals. I've seen cornerbacks go in here, and I don't know why. I see Will Johnson keep getting mocked to the Bengals when the Bengals need to get bigger and tougher up on the front of their defensive line. They need a wide receiver for Joe Burrow. Now, didn't they just tag Higgins again? I believe they did. So if they just tagged Higgins, that may have solved that problem. But it's still an expensive problem to have. Why is my chat just now catching up? What is going on? I don't know why the chat is like way behind. Okay. I mean, it's like crawling. All right, there we go. Now we're caught up. Okay, so if they just tagged Higgins, then they're probably good there, but that means they also need to get young, right? They need to get young in the wide receiver room. You can't keep paying through the nose like that. Luther Burden makes a ton of sense here. He really does. But this is also the first round, and you are not going to be able to find a defensive lineman at pick 49 like you could end up finding a receiver at pick 49 in this draft. So I think that Cincinnati is going to go defensive line here. Kenneth Grant's still on the board, and so is Derek Harmon and Darius Alexander, and this is when you're probably going to start to see a run on the interior defensive line and whatever's left for the edge rushers. I think that that's going to carry out probably throughout the first round. You're going to see a lot of defense in the back half of the first round. Exact opposite of last year's draft. I think the back half of this first round is going to be heavy defense and heavy big guys up front. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Derek Harmon here to the Bengals. Now we've got the Seahawks. Now, offensive line obviously is going to be looked at for sure. Without a doubt, I would expect that they're probably going to take a good peek at a linebacker. And there really isn't a whole lot left. So you've got Jelon Walker still sitting there. He's ranked, at least right now towards the end of the first round. That's not a reach. I think that he has some good off-ball skills and instincts. I think that he has great closing speed. I think he's a good playmaker. He's got good size. I think he fits here. I think he'll love it out there being a Seahawk. But if it's not a linebacker, it has to be offensive line. Is it going to be a tight end, or is it going to be an offensive lineman, I guess is the question. So instead of adding some blocking help, maybe adding, Colston Loveland to the room with Noah Fant, which, that's not a very promising tight end group. There's some real opportunity there for that offense to get moving, but I'm not as concerned about Colston Loveland's blocking ability because I don't think that he was asked to block a whole lot last year. And I think that that's what people are kind of grading him as, like he just didn't block a whole lot. I think that his versatility, Colston's versatility, will fit perfectly in Clint Kubiak's system. If Tyler Ward was still on the board, I think that he would be a good fit here as well. I think the Seahawks want a playmaker. I don't know if Colston Loveland at the end of the day is really going to be that guy. Could be, but there's too many good defensive linemen edge on this board. Jalon Walker being the best linebacker still, or Michael Williams being one of the better edge rushers. I don't think that Shamar Stewart's going to slip much further, and this could be where he goes. This could be where he goes. See, everyone else had Shamar Stewart off the board by now, I'm sure. Almost positive. All right, so edge, center guard, they'll be able to get with pick 50 or pick 82. Linebacker or edge, that's the coin flip. I don't think that you're going to find a better opportunity in this draft than right now. Shamar Stewart makes a whole lot of sense. Demetrius Knight makes a lot of sense. We're going to go with the higher rated guy right now, and we're going to go ahead and give them Michael Williams. I really don't think Shamar Stewart falls outside the top 20. So if you want Shamar Stewart, you're going to have to get up there and get him. Okay. Next up here. I forgot I even had that, but hey, I just got the call that we got a trade. So there's a trade going on while the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are picking. What's that, Adam? Adam Schefter's saying that the Detroit Lions are looking to trade right now. Let's see here. Who they trading with? Denver Broncos at pick 20. You guys are going to hate me in about 3 seconds. You guys are absolutely going to hate me. You know what? It's not going to let me do it. All right, let me pick this and then we'll trade. All right, so on the clock, Tampa Bay Bucks, the edge, linebacker, DB. This one's pretty simple to me. The Lions definitely are not going to be able to move up to 19. I don't think that the Bucks are going to be willing to trade, especially if they're sitting where they are right now. They're probably looking at this board and they really have the pick of the litter. But if they back up to 28, they don't have the pick of the litter anymore. Linebacker and edge and DB is big on their list this year. Does Will Johnson, does he get the call? Does he get the call right here? There's going to be some good DBs at pick 51. Probably. But I'm not so sure about edge and linebacker at pick 51. He got a rash of defensive linemen here too that should go off the board. All right, we're gonna go Jalon. Well, see, I could see Jalon Walker or Demetrius Knight going right here to Tampa Bay, and I'm gonna go ahead and go with Jalon Walker. All right, now we're gonna make our pick. All right, so the Denver Broncos are going to be trading with the Detroit Lions at pick 20. As soon as I can find where the lines are. There they are. All right, Lions are going to be sending safety Kirby Joseph to the Denver Broncos for pick number 20. So Kirby is going to act as a second round pick. That's what his comp is going to be, is the Lions will receive a second round value and a fourth round value in this trade. So the Lions are looking to move up to pick 20 without giving up pick 28. So they're going to get a second and a fourth for Kirby. In exchange, the Lions are going to send a late round second and Kirby Joseph for pick number 20. And I think that we're probably going to have to throw a sweetener in the deal, like 196, to make it happen. No, because Kirby's getting a second and a fourth, and then we're gonna give up a third. There we go. Hold on. Let me pull up my sheet. I'm trying to do this by memory and I can't. All right, we gotta pull up the comp list. I'm not even looking right now at the chat. You guys are probably killing me. I'll look in a minute. Oh my goodness, where's my comp list? Here we go. Nope, that's not it either. Okay, comp list for Kirby Joseph. So this is what I pulled down for Kirby. Minka Fitzpatrick trade. Miami Dolphins traded Minka Fitzpatrick to the Pittsburgh Steelers along with a 4th round pick and a 2021 7th round pick in exchange for a 1st and a 5th in 2020. And they also received a 6th round pick the following season. So what that looked like was we'll exchange names. Fitzpatrick for Kirby. So Kirby plus a 4th plus a 7th in exchange for a 1st, a 5th, and a 6th the following year. So I'm going to do the same thing here. We're going to do Kirby plus a 4th. We got Kirby and a 4th as our comp and a 7th. So I'm going to have to throw in 230. And then Miami, or I'm sorry, Miami, which would be the Lions, are going to receive a 1st, which is pick 20, a 5th, and a 6th the next season. So they don't have that. So they have, looks like a 6th this year. We'll go 5th next year. So a 1st, a 5th, or 6th and a 5th. And then the Lions are going to send Kirby a 4th and a 7th, but they're getting a 4th and a 2nd basically as trade value for Kirby. So that's going to look like a 7th round in Kirby. We'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and take this 5th rounder off just to kind of keep it fair. I can't imagine that it would take much more than that. We're going to force the trade. All right. Did you guys just murder me in here? Mark Van Kaufman says the background music's killing you. Is it? You want me to turn it down a little bit? I can turn it down. There we go. I turned it down a little bit. It must be the background music that yep, you guys are killing me. Oh, that's crazy. All right, so here we go. Let's get back in here and draft a player. Now, you guys thought I was going after Nick Scorton, right? But look what I just did. If we trade Kirby, and this actually does happen, and we end up with pick 20 and 28 and 60 and 101, we only need 3 players from this draft. So right now we have the pick of the litter, right? We could either take Shamar Stewart right now. We could take Nick Scorton right now. Or we know that Shamar Stewart's probably rated higher than Nick Scorton right now, at least right now today. And I have him as the next Myles Garrett. That's my closest comp. I mean, from size, freaky athletic ability, really like what the kid's all about. Nick Scorton's family had nothing but great things to say about him. And look, I'm torn because I'd love to have both of them. I just don't know that Brad double dips like that. Now, with pick 20 and 28, you could absolutely do that. But here's the way I look at it. If I'm going to give up an all-pro like Kirby, you better believe I better be bringing in someone that can be an all-pro or 2 players that can be an all-pro in the next 2 years. I don't want Kirby to go. I really don't. But I just don't see how the dollars make sense here. And we know that the Lions could definitely use some help at linebacker and on the edge. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Shamar Stewart right now just because we know what his numbers are. Because I don't have the rest on Nick Scorton to really finish the process. The tape tells me everything. I just need to know some numbers to make me feel better. So Nick, if you ever listen to this, is all love, right? It's just, I'm taking what I know right now. Shamar Stewart. All right, now, so for the rest of this, let me get back to my list. This will make sense in a minute, maybe. See, I would probably have one more trade in here. I'd rather see the Lions get up into the mid to late 30s or the early 40s. That would be my next move if I can make it happen, and I probably will be able to make it happen. You'll see how here in a minute. These are big moves, unlikely to happen, right? Unlikely to happen. Now, the Steelers obviously need a corner. The Steelers need Matthew Golden, you know, like a good wide receiver. They also need a quarterback, but I don't think they're taking a quarterback here. Without a doubt, they're not taking a quarterback. Not right now. I mean, they maybe at the back end of the first, they probably would, or in the second round, but they have pick 53 and 85. They will definitely be able to get a Jalen Milroe or somebody like that if someone doesn't trade up into the first round to get them. So wide receiver, DB, Will Johnson still on the board. He could definitely attract some attention by Pittsburgh, but who else wide receiver wise? Matthew Golden's on the board here. And I think that he makes a lot of sense. So Matthew Golden's going to go to Pittsburgh. Now for the Bolts, they also could have used Matthew Golden. They definitely need a tight end here. And I think that this is where Colston Loveland finds his home. He goes back to Jim Harbaugh. All right. I know I'm getting all mushy over it, right? All right. Green Bay Packers. Look, if they don't take an offensive tackle or something, I would be very surprised. But they're getting rid of Jair Alexander most likely. They're going to need some help in the middle of that defense. Center you can grab later. Wide receiver you could probably grab in the second round. They still have pick 55 and 87. I think that this is probably edge or corner. And honestly, oh my God, they could probably take Alec Iomenor here, or they could probably end up with Landon Jackson, Demetrius Knight, Nick Scorton. Look, the Packers are not going to pass up on Nick Scorton. They're not. Vikings, they need a running back. They need a guard. They need defensive line. They need a corner. We need some defensive line off this board, and I think that Kenneth Grant makes a lot of sense here for the Vikings. The Houston Texans, they need a wide receiver in a bad way. Someone that can help him, help out Stroud and not have to always rely on Collins and Dell. And it just, to me, look, if they're either going to protect Stroud by bringing in Gray Zabel or another offensive tackle, maybe Will Campbell finally gets his shot here, or it's going to be a wide receiver. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go Calvin Banks here. He's going to be someone that obviously the Houston Texans are going to want to bring in to help keep Stroud upright. The Rams, well, they just got rid of an offensive lineman, and they're keeping Matthew Stafford. So what makes more sense? What's more likely? Are they going to go for offensive side of the football and bring in some weapons? They're getting rid of Cooper Kupp. All they have is Puka Nacua. I mean, there's so much going on in Rams, for the Rams right now. It's kind of hard to figure out what exactly they're doing. Are they trying to reset and just go right after it in 2025? Are they taking a short little rebuild and just going to try to get through 2025 and hope that it all works out? I'm not so sure here. But I think that they're going to want a receiver that they could probably get later in the draft, but the Rams aren't picking until 90. They go from 26 to 90, then 100, and then 127. They got a bunch of late round crap that they're probably going to try to move up for or with. So what do you do when you don't have another wide receiver or a tight end? Tight end's too late. The top two are off the board. Luther Burden makes a lot of sense. Ravens. Again, this is cornerback territory. I think a lot of people have a corner or an offensive line. I think that makes a lot of sense. Will Johnson gets his shot. Okay, Lions are back on the clock at 28, and they still have Darius Alexander, Walter Nolan, Gray Zabel, Demetrius Knight, Josh Connerly, Alec Iomenor, TJ Sanders, Tyleek Williams, Trey Amos, and Landon Jackson. Okay. If the Lions right now, remember I said earlier that the Giants could be players later on, and they took Travis Hunter. And you know that we're going to have a late round quarterback coming off. I think that this is where the Lions end up having, you know, to back out of 28. So if we didn't move up, that maybe we move back off of 28 and we trade with the Giants, which to me makes a lot of sense right here for the Giants to move back up and get their quarterback, or at least a quarterback. And they have pick 34. So here's my thought process here. You're going to move back from 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. 6 or 7 players are going to come off the board before you pick again if you move back. 7 players. Do the Lions have a 1 in 8 shot right now of getting a game changer at pick 34? Well, let's talk it out. Malachi Starks, you need to replace Kirby. Makes a lot of sense. Okay. Well, we also have Nick Emenawari. So you got 2 stud safeties on the board. One of them is going to be gone over the next 7 picks. And Nick Emenawari, I have a feeling he's a first rounder. Landon Jackson, that's number 3. TJ Sanders and Alec Islandamore, that's 4 and 5. I think the Lions would be happy with Josh Connerly, that's 6. Or Zabel, that's 7. Demetrius Knight, that's 8. So you have those 8 players. And now remember, there's only 7 picks in between the Lions and 34. And you still have Darius Alexander, Walter Nolan. So you have like 10 players that if you get just one of them, you've reset this team. Any one of those players is a phenomenal fit for the Detroit Lions. Lions trade back. I think it makes a lot of sense. They move up. They get their guy. They didn't give away too much other than Kirby Joseph. Kirby, I love you, dude. It's no shade. It's just business. All right, so Giants pick 34 for 28. Now, remember when I said I was doing comps? Here's some comps. Maybe. Okay. So when you're looking at the end of the round, so last 2 years ago, like the Titans moved up from 41 to 33. I know it's not quite the same here, but 41 to 33. They ended up they got 33 and a round 3, number 81. And they gave up round 2, 41, a round 3, number 72, and another round 3 in 2024. I like those odds, or I like that kind of a draft cap coming back to the Lions. We give up 28, we get 34, and then we get 2/3, and then we'll give up, you know, like a round 4 pick. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Otherwise, you have... What else did I comp? Is that the only comp I dragged in? Might be the only one I dragged in. Whoops. My bad. It's close enough. So 38 or 30 or 28 for 34. They're going to have to give up a third. 2/3, honestly. But I want to go... I want their 65. We'll give them 101. I want their 134. We'll give them 196. And I want next year's third. So what does that do for us? We get 34 and 65 and 134 this year. And we're going to give up 28, 101, and 196. So we're going to move up from 196 to 134. We're going to move up from 101 to 65. And then we're going to move back from 28 to 34. And then we're going to have 3 third-round picks next year. And I'm forcing that trade. Might be a little heavy. But when you do business with Brad Holmes, you get the business end of the deal. All right, New York Giants. They're obviously going to select quarterback. That's going to be either Jalen Milroe or Jackson Dart right now. Those are my 2 highest. So we're gonna go Jalen Milroe. Washington, they're up next. Washington Commanders, they need an offensive tackle. I don't think that's a secret. I think that if Josh Simmons was still on the board, made a lot of sense. I think that's a good pick. But they could also use a running back. Probably. Edge, more likely. I think that getting an edge rusher here makes a lot of sense too. And look, I can't hold back any of these guys. I think that, Gray Zabel still being on the board. He's off the board right now. He's going to become a Washington Commander. Which sucks because I would have loved to have had him at 34. And I would have taken him if he was there. Buffalo Bills, wide receiver, defensive line, linebacker, corner. There's a smorgasbord of everything. I think that you cannot pass over a guy like Demetrius Knight. I don't think that you could pass over a wide receiver like Alec Iomanor. And that last name, for some reason, it just fits Buffalo. And that dude is an absolute baller. And I think that he would do great in Buffalo with Josh Allen. Defensive line, though, too. I mean, they don't pick again until 56, so they're going to be struggling to find defensive line. Darius Alexander is, he's a special dude. Out of Toledo, he's probably going to get pushed down a little bit, but does he fall out of the first? Maybe. Walter Nolan is more polished, and I think Walter Nolan becomes a Buffalo Bill. Kansas City Chiefs, they obviously need offensive line help, defensive line, linebacker, according to PFF on my sheet. You're not going to like what I'm putting up here, but I have offensive line here. On this one, I have offensive tackle. And on this one, yep, I still have offensive line. I didn't bring up my other two. I don't even know what I gave them in the first two mocks. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's offensive line, but if it is, it's Josh Connerly because he's definitely one of the best in the game. Eagles, we've heard rumors that they want to bring in Myles Garrett. If that happens next week, I'm going to be sorely disappointed, but good for Myles Garrett. That is going to be the team to beat in 2025. They're going to have the biggest opportunity to repeat as Super Bowl champs. And it's not just because of Myles Garrett, it's because of the depth that is on that team. But if they bring in a guy like Myles Garrett, they're going to have to get rid of some players. Philadelphia Eagles need a baller. They need a wide receiver. And they also need a guard. They have some picks still. I don't know how they keep ending up with all these picks. But they'll get a guard later at 64. They could find a corner at 64. But at 32, you have two choices. You're either going wide receiver or you're going edge. Alec Iomanor has been mocked here a few times at the end of the first round. So has a defensive tackle to the Eagles. And I don't know, any which way you slice it, I think that they're both good options. I don't see Darius Alexander. If he's not off the board now, I don't think he's going to get off the board. And honestly, Demetrius Knight makes a lot of sense too. I'm going to go Alec Iomanor. Alec's off the board. Cleveland Browns. All right, so the Cleveland Browns in the first round, and I'm only doing first round, but I got to go to pick 34 because I got to get to Lions. They took Abdul Carter. So they still need tackle, running back, quarterback, corner. They need everything. We don't know if they're going to have Myles Garrett or not. And I can't, with Myles Garrett on the outs, they've already got Abdul Carter. Running back makes some sense here. Maybe it's Omarion Hampton that ends up a Brown. Or they get smart and they try to pull in another offensive lineman. But I just don't see another offensive lineman that works right here. As a tackle, anyway. I see guards. I don't see tackles. There's definitely not a quarterback here. I mean, if they really wanted to, they could. I think it would be a mistake. But Jackson Dart right now is probably the best overall quarterback. But he's unless he's taken in the first round, I think he's going to be there later. And the real quarterback needy teams have probably already done their business. We've seen 3 go in the first round. I don't think that this is a year of the quarterback. I think it's kind of hard to walk away from Omarion Hampton. It's also really hard to walk away from Malachi Starks. It's very, very hard to walk away from Trey Amos or Landon Jackson. They've already got an edge. So I think they're going to go offense here. And that's going to be Omari and Hampton. Lions ended up in a great spot. So, again, this is where rubber meets the road for the Lions. You have three choices. Demetrius Knight, Darius Alexander, Malachi Starks, or Nick Emanawari. And I would not pass on Nick Emanawari after I just gave up Kirby Joseph. I know it's kind of silly, but when you think about it, you got younger, you got cheaper, you got bigger, and you might have got better with Nick Emanawari that can not only play as a safety, but he can also come down and play in the box as a box safety and be like a mini linebacker. Imagine seeing this guy on special teams. He's going to be an extremely special athlete at the next level. So there we go. I wish I could just make this. I wish that there's a way that I could make it now pick for me and just let me pick the Lions. That has to be a feature that they add back into this. That I want to pick the first round and now let's sim the rest of it. And I just want to pick one team. I don't think there's a way that I can do that. Because at pick 60, I think was our next pick 60 or 65. We've got some interesting picks. Let me capture this real quick. All right. One second, I just got to get all this stuff captured so that I can make sure that I save it. Put up the Mach 3 on the board. All right, so I'm going to get into the chat 1 second. Let me just get this closed up. And you guys can tell me how bad I did. It's all good. I love the criticism. I got a lot on my mind right now when it comes to how I feel this team should pick, but I'm not the GM, and I think Brad does a hell of a job. You know what they say, football is a hell of a drug. All right, one more. And we're good. Okay. Let me reset this. We can do another one if you want. But that's it. So how badly did that go? Like where do you think I went wrong? Do you think that it was a bad idea to trade Kirby and to amass all those picks? Because that puts us now early, into the second or late into the second round with a couple of picks. It put us early into the second round with a pick so that we could double back, because we go from 28 to 60. You're going to miss everything. It's gone when you get to 60. You're not going to be able to double down. You're not going to be able to advance this team to the next level if you're looking for 2 or 3 immediate starters that can play at a high level without sinking money in free agency. You have to get some draft picks early in the draft. You just do. And I'm not saying that that Brad won't find a gem in this draft. He could. He absolutely could. So what I would do now is dump, obviously, to move forward. I want 4 guys in the top 80. If he can pull that off, yeah, you're spending a little bit more money, but you don't need 7, 8, or 9 picks in this draft. You don't. You don't even need 6. We need 4 high-profile athletes in this draft. My opinion. That was my opinion. Yeah, so Craig Hogue, what I did is I moved up with the Broncos. I traded. I gave Kirby a 2nd and a 4th round grade. And I traded up to get their 1st round pick. So Kirby for their 1st round pick, and then, backfilled it with a couple other picks. I think it made sense. According to the comp that I pulled from Minkah Fitzpatrick, it was very close. I may not have done it as accurate, but it was close. It was very close. And I think it makes a lot of sense. What does it do for the Lions? At the end of the day, I think you have to look at it from this perspective. And this is just my opinion. There's no other team in the NFL right now that has 2 safeties on the same roster that are getting max deals. I think that every single one of us can agree that Brian Branch is the next all-pro safety, is probably going to be a top 5 safety for the majority of his career, has clearly been one of the best safeties even as a rookie, but he played, as a nickel. You can't pay Kirby this year and then pay Branch next year. You just can't. It's not possible. And we got Branch in, the 2nd round, so there's no 5th-year option on Branch. There's just not. There's no 5th-year option on Branch. So it's pay him after his, 3rd season and extend him after his 3rd season so that he's not going into his last season probably ready to, I hate to say that they're going to sit out. I would hope that they wouldn't sit out. And Brad has said as much, that if he's brought the right guys in from the beginning, these guys will play under their contract. The agent's a different story. The agent is the problem. The agent's going to tell the player, look, you're not playing, dude. You're not suiting up. You're not practicing. You're sitting out. So I hate it too. Look, I hate to trade Kirby, but when you look at his production, maybe he goes and has another 9 interceptions this year. That would be incredible. And I will gladly, eat some crow right here to say that it's not going to be done. I can't tell you another safety that had a season like that then backed it up the next year. It is almost impossible. I mean, nothing's impossible, but you know what I'm saying. Unlikely that it's going to happen. And his contract value, or his value right now for the player, is so high. Like, he's going to garner a lot of attention in free agency. I'm sure teams have already been calling, trying to get in on it. Yeah, I don't think that, Kirby's not going to be 2 first, but it'll be close. I mean, like I said, the mock is Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think that's his extremely close mock, or comp. I don't know why I said mock. Comp is Minka. I'll read it to you again just so you know where I'm coming from. The Minka deal was, where the heck did I put it? Here we go. Miami Dolphins. They sent Fitzpatrick plus a same year 4th round pick and a next year 7th round pick to I'm an idiot. No, they traded that to Pittsburgh, and they received a 1st round pick, a 5th that year. So they swapped a 4th and a 5th the same year. Then they swapped Fitzpatrick for a 1st. And then they swapped a 6th and a 7th, which the following year, that's when they swapped those. So they got better by 1 pick each year, or 1 round each year, and then they got a 1st round pick for Minkah. Same thing for Kirby. I gave him pick 20. I also gave him, like a 2nd and a 4th, kind of a comp value, which to me worked out to be a 1st with everything you threw in it. And that's just how it worked out. So that's the best comp I could find for a safety. What do you got here? Comp for the trade should be like the Seahawks trading for Jamal Adams. Okay, let's pull that one up. Why not Minka? Okay, so the Jets sent Adams in a 22. Here, let me put this on my sheet. I love that you just gave me another comp. So this is 4 years ago. Over 4 years ago. It was almost 5 years ago now. So I tried to do one that was a little bit closer in age, but I mean, it's about the same amount of time frame, I guess. So second comp for Kirby. All right, the Jets sent Adams in a 2022 fourth. For the Seattle Seahawks first round picks in 21 and 22, as well as a third round pick in 21. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know how they pulled that off. And I don't know how Jamal Adams garnered that kind of attention. Didn't we just have him on the roster? That's nuts that we just had him on the roster and he got that kind of a comp in trade. Wow, the Seahawks got robbed. They got robbed hardcore. So that was a 2021 first, 2022 first. Wow. And in a third round in 21. Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying they got robbed. Flat out. I would have never done that deal. Adams wasn't that good. He's good, but he wasn't that good. 2 firsts and a third, and you sent out a fourth and a player? Wow. Man, whatever GM that was, that's crazy. Name another safety that was traded after a 9 intercept. Probably none. But you have to look at it too. How many interceptions has Kirby had throughout his career? He's done very well. I mean, he's on the road to breaking like Glover Quinn's record, Quandre Diggs' record. So yeah, he's a really good safety, but it's just one season, right? It's just one season. And I think that you also have to look at the fact that the cast around him is partly responsible for some of this too. You know, when you're getting pressure, obviously when you're getting to the pressure on the quarterback and you're forcing them to make bad throws, bad decisions, great things happen. And a lot of people said that we didn't get good pressure and we didn't have a good defense. We clearly did. When the cornerbacks were sticky, Carlton Davis was a big reason why. Kirby was able to do what he was able to do. So, yeah, I agree that, the fact that losing Kirby would be huge. I mean, if he's going to play on this last year of his deal, I think that's stupid too. And I hope that people understand that I get that. Like, I get it. I wouldn't. Why? No one told me my camera was off this whole time. I wouldn't want to play on the last year of my deal either. I wouldn't. I'd want to get paid. So that's why I'm saying I think that there's more of an opportunity for a trade than there's not. And you might as well get what you can get. This is what Lions of the old would do. They would take a player like that, Millen, Patricia, or Quinn. They would take a player like this or Martin. They wouldn't get a deal done. Player is disgruntled. Player doesn't play well. Player ends up leaving the next year anyway in free agency. We got nothing in return. You didn't get anything out of the player. And he didn't win any football games. That's the old Lions. I'm hoping now that, you know, the new Lions, Brad's building. He's building through the draft. Done really well. To now where it's got a log jam. You got to pay all these guys to be able to keep them or somehow get them to play under their final year, which doesn't happen. So I think the new Lions would be like, okay, we don't have a choice. We either have to get a deal in and pay the guy, and we're going to lose somebody next year that we don't want to lose. Or, yep, just had 9 interceptions, just became an all-pro, got snubbed for the Pro Bowl. Ether is high, value is high. Let's fish it out there. What are they willing to pay us? If it's not what we want, we're keeping them. But if it's anything like you're saying, Brett, if it's 2 firsts, you pack his bags for him. Politely. You know what I mean? Like, sorry to see you go, but thank you for building the future of our team. That's the unfortunate side of football. Like, we are so ingrained to all the good stuff, right? And all the good positive energy and you know, we enjoy all the good times. This is the part of the season where fans have a really hard time dealing with change. I don't. I think change is great. Oh, Brad definitely loves Kirby. Everyone loves Kirby. Oh man, let's see. I hope. Yeah, I mean, I'll take you up on a coffee, Brett. I'm all for having some fun. I would love to see Kirby get paid and stay, but someone please tell me how it's going to work another way. Here, you know what? Let's pull up something else here. Let me pull up a. I was going to do this another night, but we got a little bit of time. I'm going to pull up the Lions roster. And all right, this will take me a second to get it up on the screen, I think. Oh, maybe not. Just got to adjust it a little bit. All right. So here we go. Kevin Barr says, with the rebuilt, recovered D-line, and an upgrade at linebacker, we wouldn't have to rely so heavily on Kirby or insert safety to create turnovers. Pressure will create them on its own. Hey, that's a great statement. I believe 1,000% in that too. Solid. What does that say? Solida o Gloria says, you cannot pay all pros at every position. Facts. Which positions give you the greatest value? Ooh. Well, I would say, I don't know if safety gives you a lot of value. I mean, I think that your safety is called a safety for a reason. It's a safety valve. Like, that's the last line of defense. I think you have to look at the production value, like how many tackles they have. I think you have to look at the total value of the stat lines. I think you get the most value out of linebackers because the linebackers do a lot of dirty work. They're in on everything. And I think the middle of the defense is probably where you'd want to invest more so and pay more players. That's without me really running down a rabbit hole. And that's a great question. What positions give you the most value? That is a great question. That is a great question. Okay, so this is the Lions cap calculator. Okay. So we can work out all of our free agents over here if we want to retain some. I'll let you guys decide. By the way, I'm trying this new stuff called MCT oil. I'll tell you guys what it is after a few days after I give it a good run. But it just totally elevated the flavor of this coffee. Really good stuff. Trying to get some energy in the old muscles. Kevin Zeitler, do we want to try to retain him? He's 35 years old, 13 seasons in the NFL. Probably going to cost a pretty penny. I assume that he's probably going to be hitting free agency along with Carlton Davis, who was not tagged today, transition or otherwise. He's out the door, more than likely testing free agency. Allen Robinson, I don't expect for him to be back at all. Al-Qadim Muhammad, I could see him coming back. Definitely not getting any sort of extension like that, but we can extend with, yeah, just base salary. We'll roll with that. Guaranteed. We'll do $1 million. Just call it a day. All right, Muhammad's back on the roster. I know you guys all want Kendall Vildor. Ben Nyman, I see him coming back. We're just going to do a 1-year deal. We'll give him a little bit of a bump. I wish I had my other sheet up. We'll go 1.5. We'll guarantee him $1 million. Why not? We'll give everybody $1 million. You get $1 million. You get $1 million. So this is obviously just for grins. John Kaminsky, I don't see him coming back. Anybody else you want on this list so far? Give Z a chance, still unproven. Which Z? Kevin Zeitler? What are you talking about? Who's Z? Oh, Smith? Yeah, he'll be back. He's already signed. Yeah, he's already signed, buddy. All right, Kaminsky. Is he a camp body? Is he gone? We said it the other day. I think he's gone. Emmanuel Mosley better be gone. Jonah Williams, I think that there's an opportunity for him. We'll give him a little extra kick here, though. We'll go 1.47. $1 million guaranteed. Everyone gets $1 million. Ifeatu Melifonwu, if we're going to get rid of Kirby, then you have to keep Ifeatu. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. And quite honestly, his value, you know what, let me just pull up my sheet. I got all these sheets ready to rock and roll here. Helps keep me organized. All right, Ifeatu Melifonwu, I had a 2.5 million. Let's just do it. We'll do 2.1. Oops, why does it keep putting my number over there? We'll do 2.1. We'll give him $1 million guaranteed. 1 season. I'm just doing 1 year. I don't care about next year. Dan Skipper, 31 years old. This dude has been with us forever. I can't imagine him going anywhere else. I think that he's going to come back at least for camp, and he's going to have to fight it out. As far as his value, what I had was $2 million. So we'll extend him one more time. I'm not going to go quite 2 million. I'll go 1.77 though, but I'll give you $1 million guaranteed. Kyle Picot or Kyle Pecco, 32 years old. He was playing great. He's also unrestricted. I think that there's an opportunity to bring him back as a camp body. And his, wow, he's at 3.5. And Marcus Davenport's at 2.5. Interesting. All right, we'll do a 1 year. 2.5. We'll guarantee 1.25 of it. We'll bring Kyle back. Coyote's gone. Pat O'Connor, I think he'll be back. He's also 32. And he's at about 1.8. I could do, yeah, we'll do the 1.77. We'll give him $1 million. All right. Who else did I have on this list? Miles Adams, Michigudi. Miles Adams will bring him back. And Miles is 1.5. We'll do 157 and $1 million. Now, I guarantee none of these guys are all going to get. I guarantee not all these guys are going to get $1 million, but I'm just doing it just because I want to see what happens to the cap. Pecco might follow Williams to the Pats. Is Williams already over to the Pats right now? Where'd you hear that one, Brett? I haven't heard that. Trevor Nowoski, look, this is a guy the Lions did not want to let go. I think he comes back. I'm giving everyone a little bit of a bump if you can't tell. I mean, their salary numbers aren't going to match either way, but I'm giving everyone a little bit of a bump. We'll give $1 million. Now, guaranteed is probably going to be in that 60% range, or whatever the vet minimum is for a guarantee. Zeke, I don't want him back. Michael Neese, I'm good. Mitchell Lagood, why not? But let's get his contract just over $1 million. Go 124. 500K. All right. Marcus Davenport. I'll leave him off for now. Levi, I'm going to leave him off for now. Ben Nyman, I got him in, right? Morris Norris, Dan Skipper, Tim Patrick. Look, Tim had a good year in fighting back the way that he did. Oh, I got you, Brent. I got you. O'Connor, J-Rod actually had a really good year. Cam body is what I'm looking at, but O'Connor had a really good year. You know, somebody we bring in the summertime that you just did not expect to have production the way that he did. I think the Lions want to give him another fair shot, but yeah, you bring him in as a camp body. Absolutely. Tim Patrick, his value right now is $4.5 million. The Lions need some assurity. If they can't get somebody in the draft, oh gosh, let's just do it. We'll go 4.255. We'll give him a guarantee of 2.5. Just kind of, it's kind of nice, right? Good for you, buddy. Levi hits free agency. Emmanuel's gone. John's gone. Derek Barnes. I think they're going to want to try to bring him back. Now, he ended the year on an injury. Derek Barnes. And his value. See, I was warm on him. I was not extremely hot on bringing him back. But, you know, he's probably the vet minimum. A lot of these guys are going to be vet minimum, but we'll give him a little benefit of the doubt. 177. We'll give him $1 million guaranteed. All right, so how many guys do we have on the roster now? So Lions have 18.8 million in dead money this year. Interesting. So we just signed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 guys, which gives us a total of, where does it say how many players I have and why is it not telling me? I need to know how many players I have. All right, we have 64 under contract. Our top 51 right now is 262.9 million. And what's the cap this year is what, 292? So we still have 30 million bucks to spend in free agency. That's all we have. If we were to sign all of those guys, the top 51 count, 262 million towards the cap. So we only have 30 million bucks to spend. Now, I didn't do anything like add void years or multiple years and all that. Okay, but let's just expect that these are the kind of numbers that would hit these numbers may get cut by like 30% as far as the cap hit for the year. All right, the guarantee is what you're really counting. So I didn't flush out the contracts, I just got it close. But let's just say you even cut that in half. Well, now you have maybe close to 38 million to spend. That's it. Maybe 38 million. We don't have as much money as what some people are making it out to be. I mean, we've got good money, 39.9 million. Next year, only 27 million. But in 2027, we don't have anybody signed. Oh, that's why we need draft picks. We need a lot of draft picks to be able to fill out this roster and to keep it going. That's why roster roulette is so important. So we have 64. Let's just say we get 6 draft picks this year. So that puts us at 70. That means we still have to bring in 20 guys in the UDFA market, which we usually bring about 12 to 15 guys in. And then we'll probably have to get, 4, 5, 6 guys in free agency. Unless some of these other free agents that we already have are coming back. Who else could we bring in? Michael Neese. Okay, so since they're exclusive rights, I'm going to bring them back. And we'll call that a deal at 500K. We'll bring him back at 500K, which won't happen, but I don't want the cap number to be high. Pittman, Dorsey, Badgley, Zeke, Zielstra, Reynolds. I think Reynolds has an option. He's restricted. He has an option to come back. I'm not going to offer him a tender, but we'll just extend him at go 1.5. Whoops. 1.5. I don't know why it keeps putting my number back there. Okay. So now we have 67 under contract. We don't have any big playmakers in. So now we need some big playmakers. Who do you guys want to bring in as far as free agents? Who makes a lot of sense right now? So some of the free agents that I thought made a whole hell of a lot of sense were like Ojulari, Aziz Ojulari. Let's see here. His market value 7.6 million. And man, is he worth it. Who's the guy that we were talking about this morning? That was Mr. Sherwood, right? Let me find his market value. Top 10 free agent linebackers. Here we go. So Jamie Sherwood is definitely somebody I would love to see. I can't imagine that Aaron Glenn is going to let this guy go. There's just no way. But given his value, how good he is, this is someone you want to bring in. And this really ramps up. Again, I haven't watched any tape today, but I'm just going to assume that he's going to fit as far as what we do. Wow, he was a 5th round pick. So you see, sometimes you get a gem. You find one. Let's do this. Let's give him a... Right now, his value is based at 4 years, 30.4 million. I'm going to give him a 3-year deal, and I'm going to go 3 years at 21 million. Okay, so we said 3 years at what, 21 million? We'll just go with that. So 8, 12, 14, 15, 5. And guaranteed, we'll do 1, 2, 5. We'll do 3, 5. And we'll do 5, 5. And then, nope, shoot, I didn't mean to do that. We'll go 2, 5 here. Base. Guarantee 1, 2, 5. And nope, shoot. Nope. Get rid of those. Void years 2. There we go. So prorated bonus, non-prorated bonus. Well, why is it not letting me put in the bonus? There we go. Prorated bonus. So if we're going to give them 21 million, we'll give them, let's call it 12 million guaranteed. And we'll give them 6 million in a signing bonus. So that's 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 5. So that's 13.5 million guaranteed. We'll just roll with that. Base salary 9, 14, 15, 16, 17. 8, 17, and 21 is 19. We're close. So he should have just been added. Where's he at? Nope, he's at the top. So what that did this year is it only took a couple million bucks off the cap by only giving him a 2.5 million base, prorated bonus, right? Guaranteed salary, cap number 3.7. You could definitely do it. Next year, obviously that dwindled the cap a little bit, 27, a little bit more. So you could bring him in. Absolutely. Playing football Monopoly. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing. What did we say now? Will just said it was 292 million and did bad math from that number. His spreadsheet was worse, saying 302 million for. This isn't my spreadsheet. This is not my spreadsheet, buddy. This is over the cap. This is what the pro version of over the cap looks like. So I can go in and do all this salary cap stuff. Yeah, it says team salary cap 302,932. I have no idea why that says that. It doesn't make any sense. At total cap liabilities at 265. Oh, team salary cap. Is there dead money in there? I have no idea, dude. Like, I have no idea why that says that. It's nothing I did. That was already like that. All right, so we brought in Jamie Sherwood. So now we've got our linebacker room halfway figured out. What other big name free agents do you guys want to bring in? Brent, the 25 cap is 292. I don't know where you got 281.5. It's 292. You're gonna have to explain yourself because the NFL just released it. $279.2. I'm transposing my numbers. Sorry, 279.2. 279.2. Not 290. 279.2. But anyway, all these numbers that you see up in here, this is not me. This is over the cap. So whatever they're putting up there, I don't know why. It must mean something. All right, so what other free agents do you guys want? The 10 million from Sutton, possibly. I don't know if we've got that back yet. I think it's still under arbitration. Yeah, Brent, I hear you, but again, I can't fix that number. I can't do anything to this. That number is over the cap. It means something. We just don't know what it is. I can't fix it. I can't adjust it. I can't change it. I can't do anything. We do have 37 million in cap space based on this figure right now. So if you follow the sheet, I just added all of these players. So that went against this cap number. This is live. Okay. If you go down to the bottom, I have 68 players under contract. The total 51 that counts towards the cap is 265,790,833. That's what the top 51 is. So when you go up here, that number matches the top 51. This is what we have left. Don't ask me why. Don't know. I don't know why. So the top 51, where's the top 51? 265, 790. You know what? You know what it could be? You know, here's probably what it is. Brad Holmes, how much did he roll over from 2024? He probably rolled in what, 40 million from last year? Okay, so the Lions are projected to have over $23 million in rollover funds from 2024 that they can use towards their salary cap in 2025. This would give them an estimated 51.9 million in available cap space. That was way prior to the most recent figures. So if I were to add 23 million to 279, I think that's what, oh, my phone's dead. Shoot. How did that happen? I think that's your number, Brent. 279 plus 23. I think that equals 302. So there you go. That's your answer. I think that's it. It was a rollover money. I forgot about that too. Hey, we're richer now. We got more money to spend. Right? We're more wealthy. We're more rich with someone else's money. Anyway, all right, how much is it going to cost to extend Aiden and JMO? All right, let's do it. It's a great question. That's what this exercise is all about. Next time we do this, though, let's get people calling in to do it. My phone's dead, so don't call in now. All right, where's Aiden? Where's this guy at? All right, Aiden. Let's extend you, buddy. Can I change the numbers? What's going on here? I want to extend. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, what's Aiden's market value? Anybody? I don't think Aiden's gonna get extended. Not until at least we get closer to the season. I have a feeling that Brad and Dan are very smart, and they're going to want to see Aiden do some work. So his market value right now is 30.5 million per year. Expected to be a 5-year deal at $139 million. So there you go. You've got 25 as his last year. You're going to extend 2-6. Oh no. So you've got year 4, year 5. So if you add an extension onto this, is that just a 3-year extension? Are we doing a full 5? A full 5 would put him out to 2031. I don't think that's feasible. Let's just say they renegotiate his whole deal. Let's just do that. Let's just forget the extension part. Let's just say they renegotiate the entire deal, and in 2026 it starts anew, and they give him a 4-year deal. I'm sure he's going to push for 5. Lions would be smart to go for 5, but let's just go ahead and do it. I need to look at I need to look at something real quick. Okay, so if we were to look at recent, Cameron Hayward, he signed a 2-year extension at $29 million in 2024. Nick Bosa signed a 5-year, $170 million in 2023. So I think that that's where we'll comp. We'll comp Nick. And so that was signed in 2023. He still left his 23 and 24 base alone. So that all stayed the same. So we'll go 2027. It started at, or 2026, it would start at 22,680. Signing bonus of 50 million. God, that's crazy. Void years. Looks like they added 2. The next year would be 30. We'll just go 33 mil. And then the next year after that is 35 mil. 34 mil. And then in 2029, nothing. Or 2030 be nothing. If I were to make it be very similar to what his was. Now his guarantee. Where's this guarantee? Why doesn't it show a guarantee? We got a roster bonus. We'll do non-prorated bonuses of 500K. For roster, we'll do 2.5 in this year. His guaranteed salary was what? What was Nick Bosa's guaranteed salary? His guarantee was 88, so we have to make the signing bonus and the guarantee match. So I need 30 million in here. We'll just change this to 6 million. We're just going to keep round numbers. We'll go 10 million. Go 15 million. So 50, 60, 75, 81. We'll go 7 million. And 0. There you go. Aiden's extended. He's going to get a prorated bonus this year of 15.8 million, a non-prorated bonus of 4.47, $6 million guarantee, $21 million cap hit, and that left us with 27 million in cap. So if Aiden was to get done, we're good. Now, if we were to do the same thing for JMO, what do you mean they won't backload Hutch? Look at Panay and Amon-Ra contracts, the same money every year. Yeah, I don't think it's that simple. Here, let's look. You're going to have to backload. You have to. And this isn't backloading. So what that is exactly like Nick Bosa's. Typically, like Jared Goff, his contract stayed the same. He signed an extension, so it was a true extension. It doesn't restart. Or the new contract doesn't start until his initial contract ends. So they didn't really change anything for the first couple of seasons with Jared Goff. The real contract hits next year. So he was already under contract through this year. It didn't change. You know, that's why his cap number stayed at 32 million. That's what he was bound to be paid. So with Amon-Ra St. Brown, they backloaded him. 2024 was 1.3 million in base. 25 is 8.3. In 2026, he's getting 27.5. And then in 2027, he's getting 23.37. He got a flat signing bonus. You know, that's always even throughout the years. He got some roster bonuses. He got some option bonuses. He got some workout bonuses. And as far as the guaranteed money goes, it doesn't show me on Spotrac, and I don't know why. But his cap hit goes from 4.8 in 24 to 13.9 in 25 to 33 in 26 to 28.9 in 27 and 41 million in 28. So they absolutely backloaded. The dead cap number though, you got an out on Amon-Ra St. Brown after 2026. His dead cap goes down to 16.7 million. Now, if I were to, let's just say I cut Amon-Ra right now, which isn't going to happen. Let's say I traded him. Post June 1 trade. The Lions right now, if I did a post June 1 trade, they would only have $21 million in dead cap in 25 and 26 combined. Don't know how they did it, but they did it. No clue how they did it, but they did it. Let me look at Penei Sewell. Now these pro accounts, they're different. They're like, they give you different numbers. It's set up different, and I don't know why. Penei Sewell in 24, he had a base salary of 1.5. He had a signing bonus proration of 6.7, cap hit of 8.1, a dead cap of 46.7 million. So if we were to cut him, we would owe him 46 million. In 2025, again, his base salary this year is only 1.5 million, so pretty good, right? His original contract, all that stuff in play. And he's going to have a cap hit of 9.5 this year. His contract, just like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff, doesn't start until 2026, where his cap base in 2026 is 19.9. His overall cap hit is 28 million, but his dead cap is still 29 million in 2026. It is also 21 million in 2027. The Lions don't have an out until after the 2027 year. So the potential out for them is in 2028. Well, they'll only have 13 million in dead cap. So that's a well-played contract. And that's exactly what I kind of just did for Aiden. I kind of followed in the same footsteps, if you make sense. And so, Brent, I think I just went through all those questions and everything that you just posted there. I think I just went through it all. And I can show you it all. It's just on Spotrac here. Here, let me switch. Where is it? Why is it not showing? That's weird. Let me do this. How does it show? Come on. There we go. You just probably can't see it all clearly. Maybe you can see that. Maybe you can't. But if you see, this is 2026 right here. 28 million. That's Penei Sewell. That's when his contract starts. So they're all backloaded. All right, what else you guys want to do? Because I'm going to get off here in just a few minutes. You want JMO? If we were to get JMO done, which I don't think will happen. I think the Lions will probably find another receiver. Use him as trade bait next year. Maybe. Maybe. Can't keep everyone. You just can't. You just can't do it. Where is JMO? Do I keep passing him? Where is he? All right, there he is. Let's extend him. All right, so what's JMO going to be worth? Let's give him a 3-year deal, I guess. So he's under contract through 2026. No, yeah, 2026. So I'll give him a 3-year deal. Let me take a look back at 23. much happening there. How about 24? We got some big ones. You got Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore, AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle. You guys really think that J-Mo's worth $30 million a year? I don't think so. $25 million a year? Nico Collins got almost $25 million a year. I think he's more in line with Jerry Jeudy money. You know, like maybe 20 mil, 19 mil a year. See, I wouldn't even, I'd do the 5th year option at most on J-Mo and see what happens. At least then you have one more year of control. And that's probably all I would do. I would just pick up the 5th year option. And when you do that, this year and next year will be fully guaranteed. I think he's traded next year. Honestly, I think the Lions are going to try to find their big body wide receiver in the 3rd round this year, maybe the late 2nd round. But let's just do it. Let's just go ahead and give him some big money. I'm going to follow Jalen Waddle's deal because I think it just makes sense. Because I definitely don't think that J-Mo's worth top money. You have to be not only a special athlete, but I think you have to be a leader, you know, of men, a special locker room guy, someone that you want to build a franchise around. And right now that's Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's not Jameson Williams, in my opinion. Again, no hate at J-Mo, but he never unblocked me, so piss off, dude. He didn't like my video last year that I did when the ball was bouncing off his face. He didn't like that. 2026, his contract would be something like this. So we'll leave 25 alone. We'll give him a signing bonus of, we'll go 20 mil. We'll add 2 void years to the deal. And in 2026, we'll leave that pretty much alone. And we'll go to 27. Where then he would get 24 million. And in 28, $26 million. And in 29. So the deal is going to be this. I'm going to go 3 years, 80 million. So 20, 40, 50. Oh, we're going to have to change that. We'll go. Let me go back. Jerry Jeudy, 3 years. No. Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, 3 years, 84.75 million. Signing bonus, we'll do 20 mil. I think that's way too much money. We're going to go to Devonta Smith. Okay. Roster bonus. 7. I don't know how they did this with Devonta Smith. His base salary is only 1.2 million every single season. Now he got a guarantee at sign. He got a prorated $20 million signing bonus. Okay, so his guarantee was only 34 million. That's how. I have no idea how they did that. They gave him option bonuses. But the guarantee, you know what? This doesn't make any sense. That's why these usually take a lot of work to do offline, and then we do it later together. But option proration, roster bonus, guarantee. All right, we'll give him 35 mil guaranteed. So this is going to be fully guaranteed. We're going to change these numbers just to be even. So it'll fully guarantee here. We'll change that to 3 million. We're just going to rework his whole deal. We'll call that fully guaranteed as well. This year we'll go 18 million. And he's going to get 10 mil of that guaranteed. So that's 16. And then this year he's going to get 20 million guaranteed. Actually, we'll go 15. And we'll go 15, 30, 36, 5, 10, 15. There you go. That's 36 guaranteed, 20 million signing. But his base salary, that would come down. $36, $41, $50. All right, so there we go. That's about a 3-year, 80 some odd million dollar deal. Of course, you're going to want to backload it. You got a couple of void years in there. I'm not even going to mess with the rest of the bonuses. So that brings us down to 22.7 in cap space. But if you look at our numbers in 26, no cap space. Look at our numbers in 27, no cap space, 55 million right now. So next year, even if we get a $30 million bump from the new league year cap, the Lions are in trouble next year. So right now, how are you bringing in Myles Garrett? How are you bringing in Myles Garrett? How are you bringing in Trey Hendrickson? How are you bringing in anyone else? So right now we would have, how many guys do we got on the roster? We have 68 under contract. So we need one more player to get our top 69. And I don't even know if this roster makes sense because I haven't even gone through it to see if we have the right mixture of players. But we still need to bring in, 6 or 7 rookies. And that's what we can do in the next exercise is we'll go through and we'll construct a contract based on who we feel is going to make this squad, number 1. And number 2, who do we think we're going to draft? So there you go. Why are we paying JMO like Waddle? Because, well, his 5th year option is what? 17 mil or something like that? What was it? What is the 5th year option for JMO? What is the 5th year option? So I'm trying to find, comps that are close to what JMO's probably going to want and what he's going to seek. What is 5th year option? I think it was around 19 mil for JMO. Let's see here. Aiden is 20.9 mil, roughly. Yeah, JMO could have sworn it was 19 something. So over the cap still has it as 15,493. That can't be right. Because earlier I thought that the 5th year options were much higher. Fifth year option projections. No, they are set. Here we go. 5th year option for Hutchinson would get the 2nd overall selection. Would cost the Lions 19.872 for 2026, and Jamison Williams would cost 15.493. So I guess those are correct. 15.493. So that's why, when you're paying them like Jalen Waddle, 3 years over, 80 million, 25, 26, $27 million a year. Yeah, it's probably a little high. Probably could have shaved. He probably could have made his contract more so like, no, I did Devonta Smith. I'm sorry. I did Devonta Smith. It was 3 over 75. Probably more like Jerry Jeudy. 3 over 52 is probably where his true number is, at least for me. I would not pay him more than 15 mil a year. So even if I were to go back and redo this a little bit, which I could real quick here. I got to totally undo it. I don't want to totally undo it, but I guess I do. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so in 2026, he's going to get a 5th year option of 15,493. So 15,493, 1, 2, 3. That's what he's going to get as a base, and that's what he's going to get as a guarantee. Right now, if you just pick up his 5th. And next year's salary at 2.6 million, 154 would be totally guaranteed once you pick it up. So let me throw that in here now. Oh, wrong one. Oh, I think I did the wrong one again. So now I just picked up his 5th-year option. So let me undo Aiden's, and we'll do the same thing. I'm going to pick up just his 5th-year option. So let's see. Aiden signed through 26. So why is that showing that? So right now, Aiden is due 1.1 with a 5.8 in signing this year. That's all good. That's all correct. A 4.4 roster. Yep. And a guarantee of whatever. So he's getting 11.36 in cash this year. If we give him a 5th-year option, that's going to be 19,872. That's fully guaranteed. Okay, that's what it does to our caps. We are in the hole 14 million by just giving them a 5th-year option. Doesn't affect this year's cap, it's next year's cap. And so what the goal would be, yeah, next year you're in trouble. You'd probably roll over a little bit, but then you get that deal done right now. You know, before 2026 happens, you've got that deal in place, and then, you know, he's good to go, and so is JMO, or maybe JMO's trade bait. Who knows? Who knows? And I agree with you too there, Dan, trading JMO versus Curb. But the reason why I ventured away from JMO is because of you guys. Every time I talk about JMO, you guys light me up. Next year's cap will go up, so it will offset a little bit, but not enough, you know? Not enough for the Lions to even be able to sign a rookie class. I'm expecting Brad will get something done, but yeah, every time I throw JMO into the wind for trade talks, you guys go nuts. Horrific, what does it say? Or Horror Fanatic. This is Spotrac. Oh no, the one that was on screen is Over the Cap, the Pro Edition. I think it's like $40 a year. And then I also have the Spotrac Pro Edition. Might be another $40 a year. I think it's great. It gives you a lot of options. Some of this stuff is already free on here that you can play with, but it gives you a little bit more in-depth look at what your teams are doing. And then if you want to play with all the different players, you know, it's like playing grown-up person's Madden, I guess. So yeah, Bob W., I would agree with you, man. I would agree. You know, I think that the problem that we have is too many good players. Too many good people. So, beginning in a couple of weeks here, I'm going to start doing what's called member guest, and I want to start having people on the show. So if you would like to come on, all you need is a good area that's fairly quiet, good connection with internet and a webcam, or even your phone. Get it on a little tripod. They're like $15 on Amazon, and then you get sent a link, and then you can join the show, whether it's the morning show or an evening show. Come in for 10-15 minutes. We'll ask you some questions. We'll talk about your fandom. We'll highlight you as a fan of the Detroit Lions. So it's going to be member guest, just like I do at the country clubs. It's going to be our member guest invitational. I want to bring in the members, but also I want to bring in the mods if you guys would like to come in, and anyone that wants to join the show and talk football. You're more than welcome to come on. Obviously, we'll start it with an email. You just email mailbag@rockdown.com. You let us know that you're interested. We'll kick some dates around and some times around, and we'll make it work. So I want to do a member guest at least once a month, but maybe once every 2 weeks. And while we're in the slow period, we'll probably do it more often. So I'd like to get that done. We're going to do member guests. You guys can come on and have some fun. I'd prefer if you guys would just call in, but nobody ever wants to call in anymore. So let's get on. Just get on video and let's have some conversation. You guys can lead the show. I don't know. I'll just sit back. So, all right, that's it. I've been on long enough. I need to eat some dinner and get ready for the morning show. And look, my mock was crazy, but I'm going to get it posted up here in just a moment. We'll see what everybody else says. So appreciate you guys. As always, the mods, love you. Appreciate all the work you put in. I still have great news to share, but I can't share it just yet. But let's just say the door is opened and we are walking inside now. We are walking inside. I can't tell you where, but we are walking inside now. So we're going to be getting more information. It's all coming soon. I can't wait to share it with you guys. It's exactly what we've been working for, and it's here. So it wouldn't happen without you guys. It honestly wouldn't. So appreciate you guys. Have a good night. Go on, probably go Detroitlions. We'll see you in the next one.